We have a project called Project 45015 with $450 and 15 volunteers. They can paint an entire outside of a house in 5 days. This neighborhood here, particularly the Upper Ninth Ward area, there was not a lot of attention because it was still up in the air if this neighborhood or the Ninth Ward were going to come back as a community. We've painted 58 homes totally outside of houses in this neighborhood. We've cut over 200 yards. And so what happened is painting houses bright color, cutting lots, it changed the dynamic of our neighborhood. So our street was a street where guys would sell drugs. And now you can walk out on our street, there's no one on our block selling drugs because, there's no place for you to hide, right? And it just creates a different environment. And not just that, they respect the neighborhood. They respect the street where all the houses are painted and all the grasses are cut. So for us, it was a benefit to have 500 volunteers come into our neighborhood and cut grass and paint houses. And so how it impacted us, our community as a whole, it changed the physical environment as we as a church, longevity also changed the spiritual dynamics in the neighborhood.
Well, City Park is 3 square miles, so it's 1,300 acres. I mean, there's just an unbelievable amount of different things available to the community here at the park. And especially, coming back from the devastation that happened during Hurricane Katrina, I mean, the park was nothing like what it's like today. It was basically a big, empty, flat space, and it's come back to an unbelievable degree. Behind me, you can see these big oak branches. This is probably an oak tree that's 400 or 500 years old, and the entire park is covered in these oak trees. It's actually the largest collection of live oaks in the entire world. But if you were to look at those pictures from right after the storm, the trees are laying on their sides and the roots are sticking up in the air, so it took literally years to get all those trees stood back up, to get new ones planted, to get all the grass back, to get the land in shape so that it's usable like it was before the storm. And from what everybody in town says, the park is better now than it was before the storm. City Park has some really big plans for the next couple of years, and probably the biggest one is that we're going to be expanding the 30-acre forest that we currently have into a 60-acre forest. So there's a big piece of open land right across the street from us, and we're going to be using as much volunteer help as we can possibly get to plant a bunch of new trees and make a bunch of new trails. That's what we're going to be working on if we can get some volunteer help down here for it.
APEX stands for Always Pursuing Excellence. APEX is a drop-in youth center in Central City, New Orleans, and we take all the children who a lot of other programs have rejected. We're primarily for teens and young adults. APEX is a place where our kids come from all walks of life, but mostly from some of the most impoverished areas of our city. It was wonderful when they came out in 2010. 2010 was our inaugural year for APEX. We were, shall we say, a bit underutilized. They painted and they cleaned and they helped do crafts and they helped do a lot of things that helped bring even the full year forward by prepping different projects for our kids to do, and it was just an amazing experience.
Well, Camp Restore is a good place to go where you have the ability and the leadership to help other people, and our goal is to try to get as many people back into their homes that we can.
If they're not working in homes, they'll be working in one of the 85 organizations that we partner with. They could do environmental work, planting trees in the wetlands. They could be working with children or seniors at one of our many senior centers, or they could work in one of our grassroots projects. We have repurposed the children's room at the Center for the Survivors of Domestic Violence. We have worked in cleaning or doing the laundry at the Covenant House. We do the things that the staff wouldn't have to do so they can spend more time with the clients.
The benefit of doing work for Christ is that everything you do, we do it to the glory of God.
It's not a matter of that we're going to help them. We're going to do as Christ wants. We're going to be one in His Word, and while we do that, we might hammer a few nails, we might plant some trees, we might paint some things. The real reason you're here in 2016 or any place is to share the love of Christ.
And when that group of 25,000 Lutherans came, that let us see that people cared. that made us feel like we weren't being left out, that made us feel like even though the physical thing that we had was gone, the care and the love that we found from them. And actually, for me, it was something that gave me the strength to push on. I didn't push on by myself. I pushed on with people who cared about that. I pushed on with people who came to help.
We don't want to have that mentality that we're here to help them, because we are here as a community and to be humble with each other and to live as one.